Hi, this is Joe Staten, and you are listening to the 11 o'clock Comics Podcast.
Hello, folks. Welcome to 11 O'Clock Comics. This is episode 1018, or 1018 if you're Vince, who is sadly not here this evening. I'm sure he's on assignment. He's trying to find things from the last 2 years to put on next year's 11 O'Clockers, and we will take care of that at a later date. In any event, I am one of your co-hosts. My name is David A. Price, and with me is
everyone's favorite immortal, Simon Pure.
You are not Simon Pure. You are none other than Jason Wood. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Happy
Facts.
Thursday. Yeah.
Happy Thursday, Boo. Yes. It's only been a week, but it feels longer because the 11 O'Clockers are like their own thing. We haven't just chatted comics in a minute. And then the week before I wasn't here, so it's been like 3 weeks since we just chatted comics.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. This should be a nice little and depending on where you are, in the States at least, not to leave our foreign friends out. But yeah, hopefully there will be enough in here to keep you satiated as you are hunkered down and locked in your home over the weekend with this storm that's supposed to swath across this great country of ours, and great is in air quotes lately. But yeah, we should have we got a few things that we are going to discuss. But first, we have to remind you that this episode, as always, is brought to you by our good friends over at cheapgraphicnovels.com. Max, of course, has a bunch of things discounted. You've got your hardcovers, you've got your absolutes, your trade paperbacks, your omnibus, your manga, old and new. Head over to cheapgraphicnovels.com. Start a wish list. Place your order. Get those books. Let Max know 11 O'Clock Comics sent you. Get your next order with free shipping, which is nice. I should be getting I'm waiting for the first volume of Zootopia to be released next week. So that'll be part of the next order I'm placing, because there were a couple things that came out this week that I need to get. But yeah, we have.
You mean the comic? Is that Dynamite?
Yeah, I didn't get my wife the single issues, but I figured as the collections come out, I'll snag those for her. So,
have you and Renee gone to see Zootopia 2 yet?
Not yet. I think we might. We're probably going to end up waiting for it to stream. Although the way it's been going, it'll be a minute before I think that happens, because it's now like the ninth highest grossing movie, and I think it's either about to surpass Neza 2, or it is the highest grossing animated movie, which is, I'm happy for. I mean, I've said it before, I'm pretty sure Zootopia is the main reason why we still have a Disney Plus subscription. Renee turns it on at least, more than a few times a year. Whether she actually just wants to sit down and watch it, or she just wants something in the background. She's a massive fan. She made out like a kid at Christmas with a whole bunch of Zootopia swag. So it's nice to see. But yeah, it's I really do want. I even want to see the second one. But yeah, she's super looking forward to it. But I figure the book can kind of just at least tide her over a little while. But But yeah,
Yeah.
so that'll be neat.
You are correct, by the way. Zootopia 2 is currently ninth all time already. All time. Zootopia 2. That is crazy. All fucking time. That is nuts.
And it came out like a couple months ago. I
No, a
think it
couple
came
weeks
out.
ago.
I thought it came out before around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, but what that's, I mean, I'm saying it's not like it came out November 26th. So
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So all of
but
December.
I'm saying so like
and-
it's basically it's
Yes.
it's that is crazy. I mean, Jesus, that's crazy.
Yeah. No,
That is
no
crazy.
re-releasing or
I mean,
anything
I knew
like that.
it, yeah.
Just damn. Good for them.
Only 23% of the box office is U.S.
Wow.
Yeah.
God damn. Yikes.
Can you, without looking, can you name the other members of the top 10? You don't have to get the order right, but
Titanic, Avatar.
correct.
Is
You
it just
said one
one?
already. You
Is
said the one already when you were comparing it to that. You just compared it to one to it.
I don't. Jurassic Park.
Neza too. You just compared it to.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I knew that was okay. All right.
Yeah.
Damn. What else would have been?
Well, some of the ones that you're not thinking of are like near and dear to our hearts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Black Panther? No, wait.
No.
That Endgame.
Black Panther's 20th. I shouldn't be.
Okay,
it's
okay.
20th all the time. Yeah.
Is Endgame on there or Infinity War?
Yeah, it's number 2.
Holy
Endgame is number
shit!
2. Yeah, you didn't know? Yeah, 2.8 billion.
No, I did not.
That's
I
why
don't
if this Avengers doesn't do $1 billion, they got problems because
Yeah, no
the last
shit.
one's almost 3 billion. Yeah.
And they're pretty much bringing everybody back who was in that one. So yeah, it'd be
They
stupid
are, yeah.
if they couldn't.
It makes for bad radio, so I'm just gonna give them to you. Avatar is number 1. You obviously that probably will stay number 1. Oh, well, no, it's almost 3 billion, and so it's probably gonna stay number 1 for a long time. Avengers Endgame is number 2. Avatar: The Way of Water is number 3 with 2.3 billion. Titanic is number 4. By the way, he's not my favorite filmmaker, but shout the fuck out to James Cameron, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Fucking, he's got
Even if he does bitch about things, but yeah.
He's got 3 of the 4 biggest movies of all time. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah. So Titanic 4, Neza 2, number 5, the only non-US made film, I think in the top 50, if I'm not mistaken, and only 1% of its box office in the US. So a real sea change. I watched it. I watched it. I thought it was terrible, but but it probably wasn't meant for me. I thought it was fucking horrible. But I don't like the Avatar movies either. So I'm decided.
Oh, I don't either.
I'm not the demographic for this list. Star Wars Episode 8, Episode 7, The Force Awakens, with 2.1 billion. Avengers: Infinity War, number 7, with 2.1 billion. And that's the end of your 2 billion. Those 7 movies are your 2 billion plus. Then Spider-Man: No Way Home, number 8, 1.9 billion. Nice. Shout out to Spidey. Zootopia 2, as we just discussed, and then Inside Out 2, which is just a few million behind Zootopia 2. But Zootopia's going to keep growing because it's still out there in theaters somewhat. But yeah, so yeah, quite the list. It's kids movies and superhero movies pretty much dominate.
That will, yeah. I mean, that'll eventually change, but yeah. For
look, and Avatar: Fire and Ash, which the one that just came out is already at 1.3 billion, and it's top 25 all time. So Cameron's fucking the dude just does not miss. It's bananas. It's really bananas. I'm good for him, man.
Yeah. I'm not gonna throw shade as far as him telling stories people obviously want to see. We know we get caught up in how to sauce.
He's a real one. He's a good dude. He's on the right side politically.
Yes, he is. I know that. He and particularly like Scorsese. I know that they're old heads. They're set in their ways. They've been making movies the way they make movies, and obviously Cameron has made changes technologically with the way he does things. But I also know that because at times we can get caught up in the behind the scenes stuff. those two in particular, those two filmmakers have taken their shots, have made their snide comments about the superhero movies, and because other people want to see movies that aren't made by them, they feel some kind of way, and that's fine. I get it, but at the same time, just let people enjoy shit. But you cannot take away from the fact that people still do see their movies as evidenced by the box office. So yeah. Props to him. And we definitely went off on a tangent because I do want to tell some folks about some of the specials this week over Cheap Graphic Novels. DC Finest, The Doom Patrol, The Death of the Doom Patrol for $23.99. Outcasts unite for one last battle in this unforgettable conclusion to the Doom Patrol's original saga. When the world's strangest heroes face their deadliest enemy, yet only one choice remains: sacrifice themselves to save the world. This volume chronicles the highs and lows of the Doom Patrol's most iconic adventures, capturing the battles with villains like General Immortus and the Brotherhood of Evil, as well as the moments that defined their unbreakable bond as a team. Culminating in the legendary finale that redefined what it means to be a hero, these stories showcase the action, heartache, and resilience that have made the Doom Patrol a standout in the world of superhero comics. DC Finest continues a major publishing initiative presenting comprehensive collections of the most in-demand and celebrated periods in DC Comics history, spanning genres, characters, and eras. This volume collects stories from Showcase, Superman Family, and Doom Patrol numbers 103 through 121. I Am Near Silence hardcover for $17.49. Eva is a brilliant psychiatrist, but this is no simple story of a clever shrink helping a patient dissect their problems. No, this story is about Eva in the throes of a bipolar episode, navigating her own spiraling mental health as she is pulled down in a scandalous rabbit hole when one of her first patients and only friends has invited her to the reading of her grandmother's living will. The Monturos are a winemaking empire revered worldwide, and their matriarch has organized a party at their villa to discuss her will and the family's future. Their dynasty is riddled with scandal, which is why the youngest heir, Penelope Monturo, invited the brilliant doctor along to help her through the drama. When Eva finds the family's current patriarch dead the night before the will reading, she finds herself catapulted into a web of intrigue and deception. With her name on the suspect list, Eva transforms into an amateur sleuth out of obsession more than self-defense, guided by the voices of her dead relatives who seem to haunt her wherever she goes. She takes fate into her own hands and does all she can to solve the mystery of who murdered Penelope's uncle, an oddly heartwarming murder mystery from one of Europe's most exciting cartoonists, Jordie Lefebvre, author of the critically acclaimed and Eisner-nominated Always Never. And finally, shout out to our boy Tony. Thing, the King of Yancey Street trade paperback for $12.59. Ben Grimm, a.k.a. The Thing, the Fantastic Four's resident big orange Rocky strongman, flies solo in a thrilling adventure that sees him unravel a mystery with ties to his past. Ben Grimm may be the Fantastic Four's strongest member, but once upon a time, he was just a scrawny kid from Yancey Street. When an unexpected visitor from his past sends him on a search for a missing child, the Thing must unravel the mystery, even if that means becoming a wanted man. Get ready to see the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing versus every superpowered criminal and bounty hunter in New York City. This collects the 5-issue miniseries from last year.
Love it. Yeah, it's interesting that I Am Their Silence is getting all this love because I read it and talked about it I don't know, 2 years ago. But I guess that's because I read it through our friends at Europe Comics.
Yeah,
digitally.
Now Dark Horse has it. So
now it's finally. So I got to order it because I just have the digi because it was obviously not
that's that is one of that's already in my cart, waiting for Zootopia. So yeah, it's I can't wait to get it. I mean, his art's always great, but yeah, I mean, this story sounds wild also.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was a great. I think I said at the time it's like it's the sequel to it's what should have been the sequel to Knives Out. It's that kind of. It's exactly the same kind of tone.
Nice.
It's
okay.
Instead of Glass Onion,
Yeah. I mean, well, he kind of righted the ship a little bit with the recent.
Oh no, yeah, no. I think he bounced back. I'm just saying, but the second one, could do without it.
It happens from time to time, unfortunately.
What you drinking, Boo?
I am. Thank you for asking. Speaking of my neighbors, not that the people who were listening to this heard that little spiel earlier, but this is This was a gift from our neighbors at Christmas. This is a Jacqueline Abahu. It's a Pinot Noir 2021 from Edna Valley. This is a it is a delicious Pinot Valley. They usually they're like you at times. When they find a wine, they just buy it by the case, so they always seem to have it. And this is one of their favorites. But yeah, this is good. What about you?
There you go. Well, they're because they're smart.
They are smart.
No, I don't have anything fancy. I have hot tea and I have a G0 to go later when the hot tea is done. So.
Renee was drinking some hot tea sweetened with dragon fruit sugar.
Dragon fruit, interesting.
Yeah, she there's a site I found that so we have they have cocoa sugar, cranberry orange. She likes the dragon fruit with the teas. She likes the cocoa with her coffees. And there were a couple other flavors, but yeah, there's hibiscus. But yeah, she's really happy with the dragon fruit because it's sweet enough to stand up to the strong teas that she tends to like. So yeah, it's not a hot toddy, but what can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do? We can read. We can talk about what we read. What have you been reading?
This was weirdly this was like unintentionally a thematic week for me. Because there were a couple things that were on the sort of best of list that I had flagged as like, oh, these look interesting. I want to make sure I read these at some point, but I didn't get to before our year end and the awards. But I still had them on the top of my stack, and they ended up both being very thematically similar, which is interesting. Actually, it makes sense when I get into it. You'll see because I believe it's very one of the younger of the two creators has publicly acknowledged very much that he's super influenced by the other. So I'm talking about two books. First being Bowling with Corpses and Other Strange Tales from Lands Unknown. Very long title. Written and drawn by the incomparable Mike Mignola with colors by, I know this is going to be a shock to everyone, Dave Stewart. And then, I know it's a shock, right? I wonder it'd be fun to know how much Dave Stewart has made in his life coloring Mignola-verse books, right? Like, it's got to be a not inconsequential amount, I would think, right?
Yeah.
One would think. And then the other book is, and then I'll tell you why they're thematically similar. The other book is The Fables of Erlking Wood, written and drawn by Mr. Juni Ba, with colors by Aditya Bidikar. So, in the case of the Mignola book, it's really interesting, and I like that he did an epilogue, a commentary at the end of the collection, which I appreciated. Because there were probably a bunch of years ago now, it was announced that he announced that he was retiring from comics, right? He was just going to paint and sort of live his life. He felt like he had told all the stories he had left to tell. And I think at the time when he announced that, we talked about it, and I think we all collectively kind of were dubious of it, just given that he's a young guy and he's a creator at heart, and I think we said at the time maybe he's done with Hellboy, but I'd be surprised if he's really done with comics. And then lo and behold, he's not done with comics, and he actually acknowledges that he was waking up every day just doing what he wanted, painting, drawing, whatever, and doodling with no real purpose, and he just one day, after doing it for a year or two, said, you know what, I miss making comics. And so he decided to start making comics again. And that's what this is. This is a collection of short stories. It is a one-man anthology of a bunch of stories that is not part of the Hellboy universe, as he makes very clear. It is from the Lands Unknown universe, in as much as that universe exists. And it's basically, he had the impetus was he was a fan of an Italian folk story that he was familiar with from when he was younger, about a guy who bowls with literally goes bowling with corpses, and he always thought that was a fun, silly story. So he wanted to do his take on it, and that's what the opening story of this book is. And then it goes from there. And there's I think there's 10, maybe 12. I didn't keep track, but there's it just from story to story, and like any anthology, some of the stories are long, some of them are fairly short, you know, 1 or 2 pages. Some are full chapters, but ultimately this is I'd say the only through line here is that it's a place where it's a fantasy realm. It's a place where ghouls and witches and demons and spirits and dark magics all exist. It kind of feels like, you know, if he was playing in the Fables universe a little bit, right? Like there's talking animals. There's a goose that's a narrator. There's a cat that's a narrator. Um, Most of the stories feel like they're set in medieval or like dark ages types of places in unknown lands or far, you know, foreign lands like European, you know, Eastern European lands. And most of the stories revolve around some kind of um, supernatural creature, right? Like demons or the devil or vampires or like I said, there's the corpses, you know, like animated corpses. But it's a delight, you know. I mean, listen, we. What do I need to tell the audience about Mike Mignola? They don't already know. I mean, he's an incredible all-time storyteller. This is, while it is not in the Hellboy universe, this is fully in his wheelhouse. I mean, he has also done many non Hellboy verse stories himself over the years, whether it be, you know, the you know, Baltimore, or, you know, there's a litany of them, right, that he's done that have kind of like that are supernatural or stories that are not in that world, and so this feels like a continuation of that in its own way. Um, I loved it, man. Like I love single creator anthologies. I think they're fascinating. I think the only thing, and this is going to sound like a wild nitpick considering it's Mike Mignola, I probably like if I had to like force rank single creator anthologies, like the ones that are going to always be at the top for me are the ones where I see the creator also express themselves in different ways visually. You know, like give me like where they give you different art styles. Um, that's obviously not a requisite. I would expect Mike Mignola to suddenly start drawing like Charles Burns. I get it. So the book very much looks like you'd expect a Mike Mignola book to look, but that's awesome because it's Mike Mignola, and like who the hell doesn't like seeing new Mike Mignola art? So like I said, it was terrific. Every story was interesting. Like any anthology, some will stick with me for a long time. Some I'll probably forget I ever read. But that's the nature of anthologies, right? Some of it's meant to be ephemeral, and yeah, I thought it was terrific, and I hope that he seemed very upbeat in his end credits soliloquy. He seemed like he was already working on another volume of it, and I just hope he keeps putting out whatever makes him happy because I think he's I dare say I think he's incapable of making bad comics, like whatever subject he feels like doing. So. And maybe someday he'll really blow our minds and do a book that's completely in a different world, right? Like a comedy book or a romance book. That would just knock me on my ass. But in the meantime, if he just wants to play in familiar ground and give us awesome stuff every year or two, I'm here for it. So that's Bowling with Corpses and Other Strange Tales from Lands Unknown. Hell of a title. Um, and then, like I said, the other book, which when I sat down to read them both, I didn't go in thinking there was much of a connectivity. But the Fables of Erlking Wood by Juni is very much like a Mignola book. It's similar in a lot of ways. It is also a single creator anthology. Um, it's also set in a world of fantasy and magic and black magic and supernatural creatures. It feels a lot like I know that Juni has said publicly that he's inspired by Mignola, as are many creators of a certain age, and I think it really comes through in this book. I know you're familiar with Ba's style. I hope many of our listeners are. I think he's a wonderfully interesting cartoonist. I think his style looks different from anything else out there. He does these very kind of blocky, thick outlined almost like video game looking characters, um, very, very generally strong, flat matte colors. Um, but I love it. I think it's great. It's very fun and expressive. He does, um, there's a graphic quality to his work. He doesn't draw really he's not Kevin McGuire. You're not gonna look at a character's face and see, you know, aging lines and the smile and the eyes are going to tell you what's going on. These are cartoony in the purest sense. They do not resemble normal organic beings, and I think that's part of the fun. That's part of the charm. And the story it's an anthology, but it's an anthology all about Erlking Wood, which is a enchanted forest that's possessed by the Earl King. The Earl King is an evil. Well, for the most part, he's an evil entity that was possessed by an evil power at some point in time, and then sort of haunts the wood from that point forward, at least for much of the book. And the book bounces around. It bounces around from thousands of years ago until actually like modern times, like literally like the 2000s, and all taking place in this little area near and around Erlking Wood. And we learn about him and Erlking Wood and his origin. There's another antagonist that's a fox-like creature that also is sort of not very, very selfish and does things he probably shouldn't do just in his own self-interest. We follow his story from origin to modern times. There's a protagonist, a young woman who is really the only person in the history of both of these immortal creatures who have their own interests at heart. She kind of takes a liking to them both and is actually very kind to them both, and he intertwines that into the narrative as she goes from a child into age until she ages into an elderly woman, and it's just wonderful. I mean, one of the nice things he does here is he does bounce around, so it's not like a linear telling of Earl King's origin. We see a moment between them all, then we bounce back 100 years, then we bounce forward, and then et cetera, et cetera. And I think it to his credit, there's never a time as you're bouncing back and forth where you feel lost, right? Like he's very clear with the chapter breaks as to what time and year it is, and narratively he does it in such a way that you're never confused. It's very clear, like, okay, yeah, we're back in time now. Okay, now we're very, very good at that without having to be overly verbose and doing like a Chris Claremont and just like telling you what's going on. It just feels he paces it well, and it's a real deft hand because I don't think it's that easy to do something like that where you're not sort of telling people. And then and previously he doesn't do any of that. It's just you're reading it linearly, but having no problem realizing as you go back and forth time stream. So kudos to him on that. I've read all of Juni's work. I think it's all interesting. Like I think all of his work has been interesting. Visually it's all stunning, and then narratively it's been interesting. I think sometimes, most notably with Monkey Meat, it's like more interesting than immersive, meaning like he kind of does interesting and fun stuff and things happen, but sometimes I'm missing the through line, right? Like I'm missing like that strong narrative pull where when I close, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that was what a story. I think now that's not always the case. He's done other things that I think have been like more traditionally narratively driven and been great. This is the latter. This is a narrative story about the characters and their lives and their interconnections with one another and others. And I think it has tons of heart, tons of humor. It's just a delight. And again, like maybe because I was reading it in the same week, I couldn't help but think like, oh, like I hope Mignola's read this. Like I hope he's aware of Juni's work, because Juni is like one of the great next generation storytellers who is clearly of the Mignola world, of that camp. Like he's the same kind of dude. I mean, he's telling his own stories, right? Like Juni from Senegal, and much of his work incorporates the fables and lore and legends of the Pan African diaspora, which I think is awesome. So he's distinctive in that way versus Mignola, but the kind of like the motif and the pacing and the types of stories he likes to tell feel very structurally and spiritually similar to me, to Mignola at his best. And yeah, man, as you can tell, I loved them both a lot. I think they're both great. They're both ultimately single creator fantasy anthologies, which is like again an unintended coincidence. But I think they're both home runs. Um, Bowling with Corpses is widely available, right? It's published through Dark Horse. You can get it pretty much anywhere. Erlking Wood was a Kickstarter through his own imprint, Floating Goat Press. I do not believe that there has been a direct market version of this yet. I presume we will get one this year because I feel like all of his stuff eventually has gone that route. So I will. So I read this digitally because I backed the Kickstarter. I will be absolutely buying the physical copy when we get the chance. And I could be wrong. Maybe there are. I assume there are physical copies available through his site. But I'm saying
Yes.
I don't know if they're.
There's a
Yeah, I just don't know if they're available.
It's a black, white, and
Right.
gold edition for $59.99.
Well, that's like that was like the higher end Kickstarter version.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I don't think you can't buy this like through cheap graphic novels or through your LCS yet. But
Right.
I assume at some point this year that will happen because all of his other stuff has been put out through a publisher. Either way, be on the lookout for it if you don't want to go directly to his site and buy the premium version. I think you could probably buy the digital version on his site, which would definitely be worth your time. But if you're one of those people that just wants and prefers physical books, first of all, I get it, and second of all, just file it away. File it away this year. If you see this solicit, it's a Woodrow approved book for sure. So, shout out to Juni Ba. Shout out to Mike Mignola. Great stuff. And it's exciting to think that Juni's got decades more of great stories ahead of him.
Oh, sorry. No, there is also. Okay, so there is. All right. Yeah. That is the deluxe edition. There is a limited signed bookplate edition for $49.99 and the regular edition for $39.99. But yes, all through the Goats Flying Press site.
Yeah. Oh, I said floating goat. Yeah, Goats Flying Goat. wrong name. Okay.
That does look great, though.
It's great. No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It felt too kind of like a little bit like Adventure Timey, like which was fun. Yeah, no, there's just a lot to like about it. I mean, it's we're in a pretty halcyon time for fantasy comics the last few years. There've been a ridiculous number of great fantasy comics.
For sure, I am in this this weird quagmire state where I'm either just starting things or nothing I've read lately has wrapped up. Things are close to wrapping up.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like I read,
I'm looking at something like that's true.
Arcadia #2, the Batman Green Arrow, the Question miniseries. From
what a title that is, huh? Jesus Christ!
It's about.
Can we get back to just having like simple titles? Like I know it's because we've had comics for 100 years now, and it's like hard to come up with a new title, but like Batman / Green Arrow / the Question : Arcadia is crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, if it would be way different were this actually taking place in the 80s where the story takes place, and this was a crossover between the annuals of these three heroes, which is exactly what Gabriel Hardman is evoking with this series. And it's definitely of this. It's of an era where Batman has no problem just walking around in a crowd in public in full Batman garb. He's not necessarily a creature of the night right now. He's just and they're around snow-covered mountains and everything. So he absolutely stands out. There's no animated series Batman Arctic suit for this. It's just he's Batman. And but Hardman is absolutely having fun with this. I like his take on the Question, and it is the Vic Sage Question because that's the era that we're playing in. But yeah, you've got like maybe some corporate espionage and there's all our heroes are butting heads with one another. Oliver has issues with Vic and of course obviously with Batman and Batman has issues with Oliver. But there's something more. There's more danger than what we see just in these first two issues. There are people who are being basically put into labor camps in indentured servitude, and that's what, of course, Ollie can't stand that, so he's automatically against this company, and he's on the outs with Queen Industries. So there's a whole thing. But yeah, it's fun, and it's there's so much going on that even though I'm reading it as the issues come out, I'm going to do a reread once it concludes, because there are things, the way things are moving in this story. I'm sure I'm missing things here and there. So I'm definitely, I am so glad it exists, though. I mean, it's like I said, it's a love letter to Denny O'Neil and everything that was happening in these hard. I mean, maybe Batman not so much, but at the time, following the Longbow Hunters, and Mike Grell was writing the ongoing Green Arrow, and of course Denny was writing The Question. These two titles in particular for DC at the time were a lot more hard hitting and grittier than the main line, even though they were in the main DC universe, and they were on the fancier paper. They were more for mature audiences, but they were still in continuity. So it's nice for those of us who were reading these issues as they were coming out, to kind of revisit that time. It's nice. So I really do appreciate Gabriel for taking his time with that, and same thing
It's
with
just
Escape.
great having him back too, doing comics.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Like, I mean,
and it yeah, he's I mean, he's a phenomenal artist, and when there's a subject matter that he really wants to sink his teeth into and enjoy, it's quite apparent.
Absolutely.
The Escape number 5 was there were some tense moments, because since our hero was hanging out, and kind of being nursed back to health, the bats have come around, knocking on doors, visiting the baker who's holding on to, who's nursing our hero back to health. But he does have to leave, and it turns out that his captors, in air quotes, they did have his satchel that he had thought he had lost. So he's going back on with the mission, and he's still looking for that big cannon, the Titan, and he finds it. But it's nearly impossible to get close to it. It's heavily guarded. Milton seems to he's very low on ammunition. He's got the explosive to maybe that might make a dent. But we're not really sure if he's going to be able to complete this mission, and but even trying to get away and stay inconspicuous as he's trying to make his way on this recon mission, it can be stressful. So I mean, the fact that again, 5 issues in, Remender still has me reading a war comic, but I mean, and the expression on these animals' faces that Acuña is able to evoke and make you feel, it's something else. There are, and pages are littered with either small panels side by side or larger wide page panels, and it's a simple layouts from here and there, but the way he's sequentially telling this story, it's a good marriage of words and pictures between these two. I'm pretty sure they worked together on one of the Uncanny Avengers books or something like that back when Rick was writing for Marvel, but don't hold me to the fire on it. I'm pretty sure. Not that Daniel was the ongoing artist. Maybe I think maybe there was a fill-in issue here and there, but I feel like they've worked together before. But I can't. I don't want to be 100% certain on that. But yeah, they do make a great creative team, and of all the subject matters, it's a freaking war comic. But and even Good is Dead, which I won't harp on because it is Lapham. That's the penultimate issue, so there's still one more issue to go with that story. But yeah, I was really, as I was telling Jason earlier,
Beneath the Trees. You read number 5.
I did, but even that's not the last issue.
Isn't 6 the last one?
There, yeah, 6 is it concludes next issue.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
It and yeah. So, but even here, Samantha, there are things that happen in this issue that I probably should have seen coming. There are things that happen here that do kind of take me aback a little bit, but overall, thinking about the big picture, I feel like it's kind of inevitable. So it's still it's. Do I think it's as strong as the first series? No, but the first series was just so original to a degree, and between Horvath's the way presenting the story, finding out who that the main character, the person we're reading about, is a serial killer. Like there are certain things where like I was just blown away by the first series.
Yeah,
and this is obviously a continuation of that, as we've been reading, and we know this, and it makes sense because of all Samantha's victims, there were families involved. So yeah, somebody would want to know what the hell happened to their brother. So yeah, it was a logical progression, but the events that happened in this particular issue, in number 5 alone, it's taken a turn, and yeah, the conclusion may be foregone, but I mean, obviously I'm going to see how they stick the landing, but it's a wild ride, this issue. But yeah, I mean, the only thing, but I've been so, again, thanks to the patrons from last week with their O'Closkers picks, I've just been, I dove right into Mujina Into the Deep. Is it Mujina or Mujina?
You got me, bro. I don't.
Okay,
I don't know.
Mujina. So I'm going to say Mujina, but yeah, Mujina Into the Deep, which the patrons had as one of their 10 books. I'm up to I'm up to chapter 3-1. So on the website there's only one chapter in chapter 2.
So you're reading it? What is it, on Shonen Jump or something?
Viz.com, but yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Because it's weird. Where Shonen Jump and Viz, they have the app, and you can read a whole shitload of manga in the app, unless it's a more mature title. Then you have to go to the web to read the serials.
Got it.
And there are plenty of tits in this series. There's rooftop sex, and so I mean
Brian Clark got me Peak Matrix. He said it's naughty, and I was like, oh,
it is.
Because a lot of manga that makes its way over here really isn't naughty. It's sometimes like titillating. It's sometimes like, it's teasing, but and also and I'm a huge fan of Asano in general. So I was like, wait, Asano's giving me sexy time? Like I'm all over this. But yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. I started reading it last weekend.
So what's the premise? Like, set me up, because I plan on reading it too, because I was so blown away by the fact that it made the listeners' top 10 without us ever talking about it, which is like in the entirety of our show's history, that has rarely happened. So I was like, oh well, this must be jam good. But what's the premise of it, other than the fact that there's some sexy time?
So Mujinas are they're basically, for lack of a better word, they're they're a class of citizens who have no rights. In this
So they're like untouchables in India, like that kind of thing.
uh probably
Okay.
the the main there are how was there was one particular the way they explained the class system. There's you've got the it's it's similar to it almost sounds like the way they want like Medicare for all for the US, where you have if you're a certain age you're covered, and then slowly depending on your age there's possibly like less coverage, or you got to wait and things like. But it's you've got the regular citizens, you've got your working class. The elderly kind of get phased out, and they start to get like less and less rights. But Muhinas have no rights at all, and everybody everybody's got a rights card. It's almost like the state kind of takes care of you, the way most, I guess, countries treat their people. But you've got there's one in particular, the main Muhina who we meet early on. She's kind of like the best of the best, and her name, there's a she's adorable. But you've got Tenbo and is it Umembe? Hold on, let me. There's so many. There are a ton of characters. There's a small there's a young girl, Juno, who is getting dropped off. Basically, she's set up to be a prostitute, so she's dropped off at an apartment, and for lack of a better term, the pimp is holding on to her wallet, her phone, her ID card. So she goes into she goes to meet her client, and who likes young girls, and that's when Ubeme shows up, because she's got a contract to take Homeboy out, and Juno ends up going with her when everything is over. And they also the because I'm only into the third chapter, things are still unfolding, and there's a whole there's an organization who basically they're bounty hunters or mercenaries, assassins we'll say. So they have to the Mujina are individuals excluded from society. They're the assassins, and people know about them. They all have these funky little boots that let you jump across from rooftop to rooftop.
Are the Muhina like an adopt like does one become a Muhina because of shame, or is it like because they're born into it? Like are they like Romani, like where they're like just like outcast because of societal history, or like do regular people become Muhina because they're branded that way? Like what is or is it like is it is a genealogical thing, or is it a like a societal, like you've been outcast type of thing?
Um, it's they haven't explained that in the book
Okay,
itself.
got it.
I mean, there's a because there's because the Mujina it's an old term. Um, Typically, reading up on it, um, it's like it's like yokai. Mujina can be a trickster, um, like Loki, do shape shifting type shit. But apparently it's an old Japanese term, referring to like badger or raccoon dog. Um, so I'm not sure why in the book they're labeled as such.
Hmm.
Um,
Are in the book
if
though
it's
they're human? Like
yes,
there's no supernatural stuff going on in this book, right?
no,
Like they're just okay.
it's sci-fi. There's nothing, and there's sci-fi in the way that because of the boots and some of the gadgets.
Right, right, right.
There is one main character. He's a middle-aged dude. He's a director of a software company. He's got a game coming out. He has his there's this one prostitute that he likes. She's on the plump side, and he's content with her, and he'll hit her up from time to time. But he seems to be just he's divorced. His his ex doesn't want their kid hanging out with him anymore, and so he's kind of mopey. He's not really in shape, but he ends up taking care of, or at least allowing, Juno to and and our main character, they get to stay with him, and so at least this way, even though Juno doesn't have her rights card, the director is the director asks the Mujino's boss, the because our girl was she ended up she kind of went out on her own, and she kind of got she didn't get away from the life, but she got away from her handlers, and from there, we've got what the hell? There was a she Ubeme when her handler finally catches up to her, homeboy, uh, uh, Terumi he's the director. Terumi says he asked the woman for a rights card for Juno, and she's like, okay, yeah, it'll cost you like 2 million yen, which of course she's going to have to Ubeme's going to pay it off, with her commissions. So they're all staying together. The three of them are living together, but somebody is also there is a Mujino who wants to be. She thinks her shit don't stink, so she wants to be the top of the heap, and so she's gunning for Ubeme, and eventually there'll probably be a battle between those two that hasn't happened yet. There are safe havens. There are these like caves, restaurants that are. It's kind of like the Continental. They're off limits. No fighting. No, you can't do anything. No one dies here. This is a safe place. You can eat. You can hang out. You can make your phone calls. You can do whatever. You can set up your next thing. But no fighting, no killing at these locations. I have a feeling though, the pain in the ass might not stick to those rules. There are a couple side characters that showed up as far as the because it doesn't get confusing, or it doesn't get mired down in the nonsense, but we get a little bit more information on when she gets hired for a job instead of just going out and handling it. We get some backstory on the people that we see, like a day in their life, and it doesn't drag it out. It pads the story out a little bit. If you just want to see some killing, that you're gonna have to maybe wait a chapter or two. But there was this one side quest where there's this older couple who basically they try to create they're managers. They try to create child stars, and all the children, even after they've grown up and maybe separated from them, they still they're still, it's almost like a cult-like behavior. They're still indebted to them. They still, even though they were treated like crap, it's the whole Munchausen's. There's such a connection. There's such a strong bond that they don't want anything bad to happen to what's essentially their parents, even though their parents treated them like shit and one took everything from them and used them up so that they could just get rich. But people still, the kids that they've helped, or that the kids thought that they were being helped, still want nothing bad to happen to these people, even though everything bad should happen to these people. But yeah, I just think it's so sucked in to the art. It's insane. Yeah, Asano's art is just, I love the look of this book. Asano is doing some, and because it does take place in the city. There's all these rooftop scenes, and the buildings are amazing. The backgrounds, all the characters are great. There's one woman who works at the software company who's never even heard of a bra, and but again, no, that plays into the mature readers angle. I'm liking it a lot, and obviously there's still so much going on as I'm still early into it. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. There are questions that I have that haven't been answered yet. So obviously that's how this is coming across. But yeah, I'm absolutely seeing why the listeners were digging it. I know it's still going on. Like I said, I'm just reading the chapters as on Viz, but yeah, it's a wild ride. You'll dig it for sure. But yeah, I can't wait for you and Vince to get on it, because between
Nice.
the art's fantastic. As more characters are introduced, it doesn't get super confusing. Everybody looks different. I love the way that you're not getting confused as to who the characters are in any sort of battle or any sort of fight. It's not super gory. It's violent. She's sticking swords in people's heads and faces and eyes, but it's not like there's not a ton of blood splatter. You're not Chainsaw Man is more gory than this. It's still violent, but it's not super gratuitous. There's some pages where, just because of the characters, the way they're wearing their clothes, the way they're just talking to each other, like you wouldn't even know that it's about assassins. Everybody just is so unassuming, and you don't know who. But the Mujinas have a following. People seem to be in love with them. They obviously, they're killing people, so you're not good people, but they still got people cheering them on, and there are those who end up getting theirs because they deserve it. So I'm not upset about that. But yeah, it's a fun ride. I'm digging it a lot. So it is different than everything else I've been reading. So that's refreshing. I like the break from the big two, from the superhero stuff from time to time. So this is a nice break from that. But it's It's great. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So thank you everybody for putting it on your list, because now that I'm aware of it, I can't stop. And as I keep reading, hopefully I'll be able to answer questions when I'm asked. But yeah, this is
Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah,
I
a couple observations, if I may.
uh-huh.
One, I feel like me asking you to tell me more about this book is I'm picturing as you're doing it the Jordan Peele meme with the sweat pouring off of you. I feel like you were like, oh no, he's putting me on the spot. So that was great. Thank you for that. I love you for that. That was great. You're like, yeah, it's a book about cool things, and
There's
shit
drawings?
happens, and there's like really great art, and it's a comic that's written by a guy named Asano. No,
Best review
but
ever.
no, no, you worked through it. You were on the struggle bus at first, but you started getting into it. It was fun. Number two, have you read any other Asano work? Because I know that obviously, Vince spent many episodes over the years talking about Dead Demons, DDD Destruction, which I have still not read, but I have read Goodnight Pun Pun and Solanin, which are his other two big works. I don't remember if you read any of those.
I started Goodnight Pun Pun, and because because I did end up letting my Viz subscription lapse, I fell off
Right.
on it, so I need to get back to it.
Got
But
it.
I did start that, and I did have that was fun. I'll probably start it
Oh,
from the
very
beginning
fun.
because it's been so long. But yeah, I liked what I read.
Shout out to Jay Tomio, one of his favorite books of all time.
Yes.
Third, when you were talking about how a lot of the stuff that you read this week was like, sort of penultimate, like, we got an issue or two until it wraps up. And it was reminded, it's a mini rant, and I rant because I love, I'm going to rant to some of our dear listeners. And again, I know it's like probably bad business, but like, we're family at this point, right? Like, I figure most of the people that listen have been listening for a long time. Um, One of the things, and I know you've done this too, I don't think I've ever, and certainly if I have, it's rare, because I know people are probably like they'll be digging in the archives to prove me wrong here. One of the reasons I don't give in our annual awards love to unfinished miniseries is because the fucking end matters a lot, like a lot, at least for me, as to what I think of the series. Because I think comics is often about the allure of the new, and how many times have we in the 17 years we've been doing this come on and talked about the first issue or two of a series and talked about how much we loved it, and then never talked about it again. Now, yeah, sometimes that's because we move on to other things and we just don't talk about it, but many times it's because like the first issue is like awesome but it doesn't land right. And I bring this up because, and I reserve the right to amend my statement that I'm about to make, like, because again, I will ultimately judge these things by when they end. But like, as you were just talking conceptually about how you have like these penultimate issues to wrap up with the stuff, and then you were kind of alluding to the fact that Rite of Spring is it's good, but it's not like the first. It wasn't like the first run. I agree with you, and I'm thinking about that because I think there are a lot of series that make our listeners' favorite year-end lists that I'm like, but it's not over yet. And then I wonder, like, when it's over, are you gonna really feel like it was one of the best things of the year? And I think that Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees Rite of Spring is one of those things because I've not read issue 5 yet, so I can't speak to that. But I'm with you. I think it's good. It's good, but I don't think it's like in the same stratosphere as the first volume. So now that doesn't mean when I read 5 and then when 6 comes out, I'm not going to think it was a really like it did stick the landing. So again, I'm not saying I'm not singling that out particularly because we haven't had the ending yet, so I don't know how the ending's going to hit me. But it could very much leave me flat, or it could very much like pull me back in. Like, I don't know. I have to read it. And another book that is on both of our lists this week, and I don't know where you sit with it, but I think it's why, despite singing its praises massively at the start of it, it wasn't even in the hunt for my top 10, is Exquisite Corpses. Um, I think, and again, I have no idea where you may completely disagree with me. I think that this series has lost momentum with each successive issue. And I found the last two issues to be more like I have to finish this and see how it finishes, then I'm gripped by it. The first issue I thought was perfect. I was so excited for the world they laid out for us and what was to unfold. And I think that I'm now left wondering like if I'm even going to care how it ends. I just don't. And I think a part of it is a I guess a me problem in that I don't like that it's a different artist each month. Um, and I would probably like it fine if I liked every artist that was doing the book. And it's not to say that any of the artists that have done the book are bad artists. I've read comics from each of them that I've enjoyed, but I don't think they're all of Michael Walsh's caliber. And I'm never gonna look back on this series and think to myself, "Man, what if this series was all drawn by Michael?" Because that first issue just kicked my ass. I was so into it. I was like, "This is gonna be epic." And when I'm now reading these last few issues, the last one done by Valentine Delandro, who's a fine artist, but I just don't look at him in the same light, at least relative to this setting, in the same way. And so I'm now 9 issues into this thing and wondering if I'm even going to view it as a good series, much less a great series. Where if we go back and listen to the way the three of us glazed issues 1 and 2, we were all like, "Oh, this is going to be, this is one of the most exciting series of the last few years," and I felt that way. So, like again, like to me, it's like okay, it was on a bunch of people's best of list last year. Like I don't know, like okay, if it's great through 6 or 7 issues, but then the last few are duds, like I don't know. Like to me, it's like I can never glaze or fully recommend or not a mini series until it's over. I just can't because too often, at least for me, they don't keep the momentum of the early issues, and I think there's a bunch of those that were in the hunt in 2025 as like people's favorites, and I think for me, many of them are like you know. Crawling to the finish line, including those two. So now, again, and maybe it's coming off a little harsher than I intended, but I'm just trying to say like I just wish that maybe I'll make the. I think we should consider making in future years like you can only nominate things that have if they're limited that they've completed because I think a lot of times these things don't land, and I don't know where you are on on Exquisite Corpses if you agree or disagree. But yeah, like for me, I would be lying if I said I'm like as excited to read the issues that are ahead of us. And like I would also put Lost Fantasy in that camp. I mean, again, I was absolutely sprung for that first issue. I thought it was amazing, and I'm like barely interested in continuing it. I think it happens a lot, and like the newness is exciting, but it only lasts for so long. So where are you at with Exquisite Corpses? I'm imagining probably better than me, but like I have to say like I'm actually shocked that I'm shocked at how uninterested I am in it now. Like I thought it would be like at worst like a really really good ride for me, but now I'm kind of like okay.
Well, first, before I get to that, as it's been teased, of the three of us, I do tend to be a stickler for the rules, and more than you two, which is fine. At least one of us appreciates quarter, but there's. I don't think I have ever, even before we changed the format, ever put an unfinished limited series as any of my
Right. No, I don't
favorites.
think I have either actually in that regard.
And I especially hate it because I remember mentioning this when Absolute Wonder Woman launched. If we only get like 2 issues of something
Right.
of something new, whether it's new or an ongoing, and now I'm like but I loved it, but it's like, but it just started, so does it really matter? Like if I read 8 issues of something versus 2. But those 2 issues knocked me on my ass. Like, so I always wrestle with that. But yeah, I I can't feel myself putting an unfinished limited series as my favorite item of that year because, I like you said, I don't know how it's going to end. If it doesn't stick the landing, then I look like a fool. And it's great. You think that those first 2, 3, 4 issues were amazing work by this creative team, and you want to you want to show appreciation for that, and you want to give them props, and I understand that, but then take those creators and put them on your 5. Don't waste a slot for a book that hasn't finished.
Right. I look at it like with novels, right? It's like it'd be like if I read like 450 pages of The Stand and never read another page. I was like, oh, that's my favorite book of all time. It's like, whoa, like you don't know what fucking happens in the last 400 pages, dog.
Yep.
Like I could be like, yo, I'm halfway through this book and it's amazing, but I can't be like, yo, the best book I read was the half of the book. Like you would never do that, right? Or a movie, you would never watch. Like you would never watch the first hour of one battle after another and then turn it off and then just be like, yo, that's the best picture. That's the best movie of 2025. Like you just wouldn't do it. So yeah, I'm with you on that. But anyway, and I realize it is different with comics because, comics are we're mentally trained to be serialized and judge things in compartmentalized partial manner. I understand. Like I acknowledge that I understand why others may choose to recognize partial.
Yeah. I'm not
series. Like I'm not saying it's totally illogical, but I'm not worried. But more importantly, Dap, are you with me on Exquisite Corpses, or do you think I'm nuts?
I do not think you're nuts. I am with you on Lost Fantasy. Between the two, I'm less interested in Lost Fantasy.
Yeah.
Exquisite Corpses, as playing armchair editor, as we're 9 issues in hindsight, this could have been much tighter. We've spent 9 issues and it feels like we're treading water at times. And
yes.
So this could have been shortened, I feel, a little bit. It's
or more action packed. Like if you're going to make make each issue of make 18 of the pages a badass battle between these people where it's like, you know what I mean?
Especially if it's a tournament. Yeah, we're taking people off the board. Like I'm seeing more people in town.
2 pages. Yeah, 2 pages, and then we see people in town or people in the 13 sitting in the room,
war room,
drinking and making fun of each other, which again, I'm here for all of it, but like I feel like the balance of it is like way off, like where the fighting is almost like tertiary. And maybe that's what Tynion was going for from the jump. But that is not what I bought into, especially when they were selling us some of the character designs and that they were gonna, they're gonna have a trading card game. And like to me, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna see these badass like video game-esque badass killers like Tekken style going at it, and like who's gonna they're gonna barely beat each other until there's only one. That's what I thought we were getting. And again, maybe it's a case of like I had unreasonable expectations because that's not what they were ever planning for, and I should have put their intent. I shouldn't have put my desire into their intent. But for me, it's like, all right, dog, like, how many scenes do I need of old girl drinking whiskey talking about how things used to be? Like, I mean, damn.
She's become my favorite character, but yeah. And I feel as though they may have, just because, I mean, at the first issue, there may have been one particular, the old lady with the whiskey, her player, we figured, okay, this is the badass who's going to take it all.
Right. Spoiler.
But I have a feeling that
not true.
No, he may not, but
right,
because the mask, like, is it the character, or is it the person playing the character that matters? Like, if somebody else, I mean, obviously the person who wins is for that, but I feel as though maybe they may have, I can't say that they lost the plot, but it feels like it definitely, I don't have buyer's remorse, but it strayed from what, like you, it strayed from what I thought we were getting. And
yeah,
it may still end up, there may still be some oh shit moments coming, and we may get some surprises. But yeah, since they did take that big motherfucker off the board now, it could be anybody's game. I'm still hoping for the Fosmax killer, but we'll see. I think, I know we get Walsh to do the war room scenes. and then every other month or every other issue we get a different artist doing the interiors, and that can be good or bad. But yeah, I definitely there's not as much oomph as there was at the start.
Right, which is not
Sadly.
to say it's bad. Like, I'm not saying it's suddenly gotten bad. I'm just saying, like, I'm just like, okay, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like hyped. Like, if you go back and listen to our episode when we talked about this first, like, we were like, yo, this is like that number one issue was perfect. I mean, it was,
And it went
it
to
was
how many
fire.
printings? And yeah,
Yeah, it was fire.
blowing up.
Yeah. So, anyway, again, a little bit of tangent, but we got time to spare because our boo wasn't here. So I figured I'd just riff off what you were saying about the penultimate, because I was thinking, like, you're bringing up a good point. Like, it's like for me, I can't judge a series until it's over. I
Right.
just can't do it.
I mean,
Can't do it.
sure the journey is fun and all, but I'm not rewarding my favorite journey until we've reached the end.
Yeah.
And so
And listen, I'm
that's-
sure there's some of our people are going to be listening to this being like, y'all are nuts, and I'm not saying, no, I'm saying like if it works for someone else to reward 4 issues of a 6-issue series, and then even if they don't like the other 2, like, oh, more power too. For me, it's like, and maybe part of it's just because my reading habits have changed. Like I mean, I would prefer, like, I think all things being equal, I would prefer to read everything in a complete form. Like, but we don't do that because of the show mainly. Like, I don't know that that's a feasible approach to do a weekly podcast and only talk about things that are completed. But I think if for some reason we ever stopped doing the podcast, or in an alternate universe where we didn't have the podcast, I think at this point in my reading life, I would just read completed things. Like, I would, when a series is like, I would read complete runs and complete, that's just how I would do it, because I find the most enjoyment out of that. So that's probably part of this too. But let's bounce to something positive, or at least actually, I don't know what you thought of this, but I'm going to assume you're positive with it, which leads into my who I introduced myself as, Redcoat number 16.
yes,
A book that we all gave love to on the Old Classicers, as did the audience. I thought it was pitch perfect. I thought it was like, they're going back to the well, so to speak. But I'm here for that because I loved that fucking well. Like, I guess minor spoilers. I mean, we pick up where Simon is now happily married with children.
with children. It's 1909.
With children. Yeah, 1909. He's a successful, thriving tailor of like a renowned tailor. He's happy. He's got a beautiful wife, seemingly genuinely in love. His kids are great. They love him. Things are good. And our old buddy Albert Einstein shows up at his door, and Simon's thrilled to see him. It's like it's his brohim. But Albert's like, yeah, I'm here to tell you that Benedict is back. Benedict Arnold, which of course at the end of what was it? I guess forget what issue, but that was the main arc. That was like the culmination of the first long arc, right? Yeah. I don't remember how many issues ago it was, but like, the last we saw of Einstein and Benedict Arnold was basically the big culmination of that ongoing saga, and Benedict Arnold got seemingly buried at the bottom of the ocean, got crushed with the ship that went down, and Einstein basically saved the world and saved Simon in the process. So Einstein's like, yo, he's back, and that sets things in motion. But as we come to see, at least right now, Benedict Arnold claims that he's changed. He's a changed man. He just wants love. He doesn't want power and control anymore. And he kind of like pops in to tell Simon this, and then kind of bids him adieu. I loved it. I have no idea what to make of it. Like, I presume they wouldn't bring Benedict Arnold back if he wasn't ultimately going to be a big bad again. But I can't say for sure. Like, did you get the vibe that we're gonna maybe like I was thinking like of 2 minds. One, we're just right back to Benedict Arnold being the big bad. Or 2, he's back. We wanted to have this issue to make sure that everybody knows he's back, but he's going to kind of bounce, and he'll be like in the periphery for a while, and then eventually we'll be back to do something like sinister, but like more like a Moriarty, where he's like, he's there, he's doing his own thing. he'll pop in from here and then. Maybe he'll be the big bad at some point down the road, but he's not going to necessarily be like the next arc. I don't like. Where do you think we're going with that?
I'm trying not to read too much into the wraparound cover for 17.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
But I have a hard time believing a leopard changing its spot. So I considering his actions, and yes, okay, fine, you were trapped under metal at the bottom of the ocean for however long, and you had time to think about things, but you did kill people when you emerged. I have a hard time taking him at his word. Oh, you win, Simon Pure, and I love what you have, and that's the sticking point for me. I love what you have.
Ah, right. Not like
you have
I
everything,
want what you have, or I would
yeah.
love to have what you have. Yeah, yeah.
And I because I want to help you, and but I want to help you how by taking your family off your hands. I want to I don't believe him. Is the long and short of it.
Right, but do you think the next arc is unfolding this, or do you think he's gonna kind of go back into the periphery again, and then we'll see him in a couple issues? You know what I mean? Like, is it gonna be more of a long, drawn out sort of a thing with him?
I don't think he's going anywhere just yet.
Okay. Okay.
I think, yeah, and I'm also concerned that that maybe Simon is complacent. He's got a family. He's got a steady job. Like,
right.
he's happy. He's content. There isn't anything for him to worry about right now. There isn't all his troubles are behind him. Or they were, and he's thinking about progress and moving forward. We're at the turn of the new century, so things. He's in a good place, obviously, and I wonder at that point then if maybe his guard is down somewhat, and I part of him probably wants to believe Arnold, but at the same time, Simon is a rogue as well.
Right.
When as he says at the beginning of every goddamn issue, his name is Simon Pure, and you'll find out he's anything but. So there's still, even though he's a family man, he's still Simon. So I mean, did he? And that's the other thing. Did he introduce himself as Simon Plum to his future wife? Does she know anything about his past?
Right.
Because at that point, then he's been lying to her. And if Benedict mentions that, if Benedict mentions that they're both older than dirt to her. Like, is Benedict here to fuck up his life?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm obviously leaving it up to Johns. I trust him at this point.
It's kind of you.
Right? What the hell? It's the least I could do. So I want to, I'm obviously going to follow the story along. This isn't one that I'm going to be second guessing or going, that's bullshit. That won't happen. Like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I absolutely do not take what a man named Benedict Arnold is trying to sell to Simon Pure, and with Einstein here as well. There's at least Simon won't be facing this alone like he did before. So it's a great issue. I thought it was great. We get we even get a little bit of the flashback because since we are reintroducing Albert Einstein, we get to see how he went back and he spent time. We see his little sister when they were both young, and they went on they saw the Buffalo Bill and Annie Oakley. So I mean, like we get the callbacks for that as well. So it was a nice issue in that regard. It was a lot of fun. And it's nice seeing Simon happy and not happy in a rapscallion. I'm gonna just hopefully find some nickels and be able to get a logger. Like he's content and it's nice to see. He's kind of just at ease somewhat. I don't know what the hell's going on in the back of his mind other than the internal monologue we're seeing, but yeah, he all as appearances go, he seems to be in a good place. So I am happy for him in that regard. But of course, now something has to come and throw a wrench in things. So yeah, it's no, I definitely, I do not think that Mr. Arnold is all of a sudden altruistic and on the side of the angels. There's no way.
No, I don't think. Again, I don't think he's actually altruistic. My question was more about, again, are we going to see him as a background like Moriarty type, where he's appearing in every a panel or two or a page or two, and he's there, but he's not really like, builds, or do we think he's just like the villain again? Because it would feel a little weird to me if he's just like back and the villain again after, he was like the main villain of like the first year of the series. But again, like, I have super trust in. Thought the issue was great, and I have super trust in the whole thing. And the idea of like Albert Einstein being like a young hero is hilarious to me. So,
yes, I would not mind as far as nemesis go, and since they do suffer from the same affliction of immortality, I don't necessarily want to see Arnold meet his demise. And if he comes back every couple of years, I wouldn't be upset about that. But yeah,
right.
If it would be interesting, I don't see him coming back for an issue or two and then going away. I don't know how long this arc is going to be. But it was a surprise to see that, because we this was also a nice without actually just hitting you over the head with, this is a flashback. Like you saw what happened, and they didn't belabor the point. They didn't draw it out for half the book with a footnote that says, hey, if you wanted to see this, go ahead and read the first volume. Like, they just it was a nice little recap and then got us up to speed. So the way Johns wove all that together was neat. And yeah, and of course Hitch and Currie made the book look great. But yeah, I really did enjoy it, and as we get closer to I also like seeing it as we get closer to our time, to as we creep further and further.
Yeah, ever closer. Yep.
Yeah, into the centuries. It's nice to see him try to get acclimated to, especially yelling at horseless carriages is always a nice touch. But no, this was a great issue. Definitely keeping it going. It's yeah, it should be, if the momentum continues. I see no reason to not have it on future O'Closker's list. This was good stuff. As was actually, wait, do I have anything else on my list, or am I about to give away my In Your Travels?
Oh shit. No,
it's your turn. Go ahead.
You got something else that you could do in your travels for? Begins with a G.
Oh, I could because that hasn't finished.
But it could be in your it could still be in your travels. But you haven't listened.
Because I don't, because Good As Dead has one more issue to go, and I don't want to. I don't like going too far into too deep on David Lapham.
Let's make that thing both of our In Your Travels then, because I wanted to talk about it, so we can make that both of our In Your Travels. But I have something else before we do that.
Do it.
Again, I didn't set out for this week to be this, but it is solo creator anthology O-Rama this week, because not only do we have Bowling with Corpses and Other Strange Tales from Lands Unknown, and the Fables of Erlking Wood, which I've already regaled you with earlier this evening, but to top it all off, last but certainly not least, we have Goes Like This.
Ooh.
You may be saying, what is that about, Woodrow? Well, Goes Like This is yet another banger from our good friends at Fantagraphics. And it is a banger because it is another solo anthology. And the artist in question, Mr. Jordan Crane. Now, we have talked about Jordan Crane many times over our nearly 2 decades. Vince more than you or I. He's an indie creator, does tons of stuff in zines and other anthologies, and in Now and Uptight and things. But we have talked about his works. But this is a collection of said works. It came out late last year. Well, no, actually mid last year. It came out in April of last year. But it is a beautiful collection of selected works from Jordan's career, spanning 2002 through 2022, so a 20-year retrospective. It is a dozen stories, as well as I didn't count, but like dozens of single-page poster like pinups, which I think have appeared in various and sundry places over the years. But it's an absolute delight. Basically, this gets to what I was saying about the other anthologies, like where like if I'm going to tier them, this is like Jordan wins because as you go through this book, it looks like different artists did the book. You know, like it's different layout perspectives, different drawing techniques, different illustration tools, different color approaches, different pacing approaches. It's the only reason you know it's by one person because the book tells you it's by one person, right? Like, and that is always feels special to me. Also, really interested, would love to know from Jordan directly or someone at Fantagraphics. Probably like, considering we've read thousands upon thousands of things over our lifetimes, I don't think I've ever seen a collection designed quite like this. It is a raw, um, like binding, like it's just the glue binding of like there's no cover for it. It's just like the glue holding the binding together by design. Like it's very very interesting. Like I don't like it's clearly purposeful, but it's like nothing I've ever seen before. And then another thing that I'm not sure I've ever seen before, but certainly if I have, it's been very infrequent. Um, they use different types of paper throughout the book. There are highly glossy pieces of paper. There are newsprint types of paper. There are like parchment types of paper. There's traditional comic paper, like thicker, like cardstock. With each story comes a different type of paper, which I think is fascinating and a very hard thing to do from a production standpoint. I'm sure it costs an arm and a leg to do it that way. So they spared no expense. So it goes like this. Like I said, it's 20 years of his work. It's 12 stories from that 20 years, and it's just all over the map in terms of what it's like. There's a really long sci-fi story about being lost in space. The the book opens with a Western story about a guy that comes across another dead cowboy, who's got like a bag of treasure, and he gets obsessed with the treasure, but also he gets obsessed with it, figuring out how to like hide himself and keep it safe. Kind of like a Smeagol, like My Precious type of a vibe. Um, there's like this story called Below the Shade of Night, which is about like anxiety about childhood and adolescence, and kind of trippy and surreal. There's a story called Vicissitude, which is all about like infidelity and the sorrow that like you feel as you know that your spouse is cheating on you, but you still love your spouse and you're hoping that it gets better, but it's probably going to get worse. It's just I think it's remarkable that he can so masterfully attack so many different concepts with the same deft hand, and also visually just give you a different approach each time, but yet each approach is in and of itself fantastic. Nobody should be this talented. You shouldn't be able to draw 10 different ways and have all of them look great. It shouldn't be possible. Like that's fucked up. But Jordan is capable of it. And then on top of it, all of these interstitial one-page posters are jaw-dropping, and they are just equally diverse. I mean, there's like a cubist painting. There's like abstract pop, like 50s ad art. Like he's just basically drawing what he wants to draw. There's a supernatural horror story involving like an octopus type siren who is battling the sailor who she killed's soul, like literally like having like in like the astral plane battling for like what happens to the body. Just wild stuff, man. Like, and doesn't fit in any box other than being awesome. The only box it fits in is the awesome box. And so kudos to Fantagraphics, kudos to Jordan Crane. if you have any interest in anthologies, particular solo anthologies, which has been my theme tonight, Goes Like This needs to be on your. We all have that little side pocket of Fantagraphics stuff that we put down. That next time Fantagraphics does the 50% off Fantabuck sale that they do once a year, we all hopefully have stuff that we can remember to put into our box, to our cart. Well, this, if you haven't already ordered it, first of all, shame on you. But second of all, I'm going to forgive you by just remembering that the next time a Fantabucks sale happens, Goes Like This should be at or near the top of your list. It's awesome. So yeah, kudos, man. I totally knocked me on my ass. Beautiful, beautiful book in all ways. The physical book is beautiful. The approach is beautiful. The paper is beautiful. Like, it's just wonderful. Definitely a book that you would never, ever want to read digitally. Like, the whole point of this book is to experience the physical nature of it. So, please, please, please check out Goes Like This if and when you get a chance.
I have to check it out now. Is it the same size, physical format of Keeping Two, or is it larger? Looks like it's larger.
Larger. Yeah, it's larger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like treasury size.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm keeping an eye out on that then. All right.
Mm-hmm. Go show.
Love it. Excellent. Okay. And I think we are at about that time. We are going to wrap this up here. As always, again, this episode was sponsored by cheapgraphicnovels.com. It's in the name, cheap graphic novels. Hit the site, check them out. Direct market covers, standard edition covers, variants, the whole shebang. Tons of publishers. Anything you're looking for, you can probably find. I'm not going to say everything because there have been some. There have been a couple things that we've mentioned that Max doesn't have, but you can get lost in everything that they do have. Check out the Nick and Den sales when they happen, because the books are neither, from what I can tell. Always good stuff, always on sale, great deals, and every Monday you get that email with the new release list, and which includes Max's pick, so you can always find something good there in your travels. The other issue that came out this week that I was able to get my hands on is Assorted Crisis Events number 8 by
You heard
Deniz Camp, Eric Zawadzki, Jordie Bellaire. Beautifully lettered. I might have to put Hassan as one of my 5 creators.
Stop. Come on now. Don't be crazy.
No,
listen. He's a great letterer, but he cannot be your top. Come on. That is insane.
There are 5.
Go ahead. Carry on.
Okay.
Carry on.
Only because there are. This isn't just the standard lettered comic that you see everywhere else. The lettering that happens in the scribbles and beyond the gutters and even in the comic, our main character is that our dude that Bill is drawing, like you got scribbles, you've got like handwriting happening in this issue. This is a great issue. I think this is one. I mean, I probably said this the past 7 issues, but I mean, this is a great issue. And I think we finally get a name.
Adult Man meta style issue. Like it's about comics.
It is about comics.
Comics.
I think this is the first time we actually get a name for Crisis Chris, who's appeared in an issue here and there. He appeared in the first issue.
Yes.
He's popped up sporadically, but I don't think we've actually had a name for him until now. But yes, what do you think about this issue?
Phenomenal. Listen, this series is so special. I mean, I know you and I just talked about it at length last week on it was on both of our lists. I think that one of the cool things, well, there's many cool things, but one of my favorite things about the series, given its one and done nature, is that I presume that for all of the many of us that are loving it, we all also have different favorite issues, right? Like, um, and I thought that this was really fascinating to me because I'm not sure that like I kind of think, and I haven't really thought this through, like fully through. So I I reserve the right to change my mind. I kind of think like they changed like that they decided not to play by their own rules in this issue because I'm not really sure. Like this doesn't feel like an examination of a alternate reality gone astray as much as a concept about like the existential crisis he had of living through his work and it consuming him. But like I say that and I realize that like given the crazy nature of each issue, especially compared against one another, there really aren't any rules per se other than these are stories of tragic outcomes in worlds that are somewhat like ours but different in other ways. So I'm not saying it's like doesn't belong. It very much does. It did feel like a different type of an issue to me, but exceptional. And I will say, I mean, Zawadzki, like his work in this is just absurd. Like again, we talked about Dude a decade ago, so we've been on him from jump. But like, what he's doing in this series is on a level that is reserved for very select few storytellers. He is, and the way that he's bringing different narrative visual storytelling tools to each issue based on the type of story is just it's like a masterclass. I mean, and for him to do this book where he's drawing in different styles to evoke the comic panels, and it was a gorgeous book. It to me it almost looks like it could be an EC book. I mean, I think he's on one right now. I actually reached out to him in anticipation, to let him know that he was on that the book was on our lists. He was very appreciative. We've been going back and forth about a potential art project that I'm hoping he agrees to do for me. But this, I mean, again, I don't know that I've read an issue of this series that I didn't think was phenomenal in its own way. And I think that this one in particular, because you wouldn't be reading this if you weren't a comic book fan, and this is a book that is very much inside baseball, where only a comic book fan would really appreciate what he's doing in this book. So again, it's like meta on meta. This book is just meta in every way, and I love this idea of, all right, I'm going to tell a story that would only be appreciated by comic book fans, and because I know that the only people that are going to read this, since it's a comic book, are in fact comic book fans, and I just think it's great. This has become one of those books where if someone tells me that they read it and didn't like it, I'm side-eyeing them hard. I'm like, nah, bro, like your taste was whack. I'm not saying it has to be I'm not saying the Sword of Christ Fence has to be your favorite book, but if you can't appreciate the craft that these gentlemen are putting into this book, you are out of your mind. It is an exquisitely executed book. Like it is. They are on one right now, and this is more of the same. I don't know that you and I have talked about for me, issue number 5 is my favorite issue to date. But I mean, this is not far behind it for me. How about you?
Which one was 5?
5 is the one with the girl and the crazy layouts. All the maze layouts, and he did.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh shoot.
For me, 5 and then 6. Six is where the guy's aging. Each day is a different age.
Yeah.
And it's basically a play on on Alzheimer's, and the wife is trying to deal with the fact that he's a baby sometimes, and then he's an old man.
Yeah. Number 7 was kind of weird with the dude finding all the bodies, his own.
Didn't
bodies.
love that one. Probably my least favorite of the bunch.
I would agree with you there. Yeah, I'd have to go back to there is one. It may have been the 3rd or 4th issue. There is one that is that has been my favorite. This one was a blast. I mean, you want to, anytime you want to talk about the world of comics within a comic, you've got my attention. And I mean, this, even without the crisis events going on, this still could have been just a straightforward story of this guy wanting to be a comic book artist, becoming a comic book artist, having the highs and lows, and then trying to reestablish himself, and similar to what Legend has about Stanley's wife telling him, well, finally you can go ahead, if they're canceling the superhero line, then just go ahead and tell the superhero story you want to tell, and that revitalized things, and the for him to then write about his situations, his life experiences of being dateless and then trying to go on dates, and then telling those stories in comic book, like that alone could have been a fun little story to read about. But folding it into this world that Camp created, and interspersing it with the man's daughter looking for him, and him looking at the reader and asking if the reader can see him, and just wanting to be seen, like it's just layers on layers. Like the entire series is just one big fucking onion, and I just it is seeing things play out. Zawadzki's just, I mean, it's not your straightforward comic, because we've got scribbles, we've got doodles, we've got unfinished drawings. It's a sight. This is one of my favorite issues of the series. I'm a big fan of Eric's art. The way some characters, just the way they look all short and squat, but just they make sense in this environment. The way he draws clothes and just the action of things. But yeah, there's almost like some Asterios Polyps thing going on in a couple of panels. I love this issue. It's there are some touching moments because there is a family to a degree. I thought this was a fantastic issue, and I hope in an upcoming issue they show us, if anybody hits, and anybody who sends in their pictures of love, I hope Camp shares them with us, because if you have this issue and you get to that last page, there's something special that the team is asking you to do, and I would love to see people accomplish this and go forth and see that. But yeah, this is a great issue, as I've said. Yeah, I'm excited. Comics make me happy, but there aren't a lot of comics that when they come out that week, I'm like, yay! Oh, good. This week we get this, and now I'm excited to read something, and I can't wait to get it in my hands. And you can look at my O'Closkers and see the comics that I do get excited about, but this is obviously one of them. And yeah, even if we get a, and when I say a weaker issue, it's not a complaint. But even when we get a weaker story like we get in the previous issue with Homeboy finding all his bodies, it's still entertaining. But yeah, this is a series that even if I'm left at the end when I'm done reading it, I'm like, okay, well, this was good. It wasn't as good as the previous issue, but it's still good. Even Camp writing a story that I would never consider a whiff, even Camp writing a story that I didn't feel was as good as a previous story, it's still better than what I could read from other creators, and that makes me happy. I just knowing that he's writing a book like this even existing, makes me happy. This was this is a fantastic issue. I absolutely, and again, yeah, I mean, obviously, we talked about it last week on Neoclaskers. Other listeners have obviously been rating it. You said it was on the meta list, so I mean, people are aware of it. I am glad. This is one of those books from Image.
Tied with Drome for the highest rated non-absolute book.
I love that. I know we've heard from other creators, whether it's Kieran Gillen or Remender, they have an idea of where they want, how long they expect. They have different stages. It's like, okay, well, if sales maintain, then I know we can get to this issue.
Course.
If they start to peter out, then I know I got to. So I don't know if Camp ever said this. He has an idea of how many years he wants this book to go, but the
nice thing is it's an anthology, so really, I mean, they can wrap it up.
You're absolutely right, and we may never know, which is fine. But I do hope that it ends.
Well, I can tell you, as of yesterday, Eric is still working on the book. So
good. Well, that's good. Excellent.
Yeah, because we were chatting, and he's like, "Oh, I got a deadline." I'm like, "Bet."
Okay, get at it, bro. Yeah, no, I hope that they can tell this tale. They can tell the story that they want to tell. It ends on their terms without sales dictating that it needs to end sooner. But yeah, it absolutely is one of my favorites. I could give a list of 10 books that I'd rather see on the waste pile, as long as this one gets to continue going. And it's
100, but
oh well, yeah. I'm trying to insult too many people, but yes, yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. In your travels, by all means, continue to check out Assorted Crisis Events.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is that.
If anyone's wondering, you can in your travels you can skip Inglorious X-Force #1, because I read it for you. It was whack.
What is the premise of this one?
I mean, it's Cable. What's the premise ever of Cable?
Oh damn!
A version of Cable's come back from the future to change the future by doing something in the current, and he's got to get a team together. And because it's fucking 2026 Marvel, the team is somehow Angel, Boom Boom, and Helverine. And if I never have to say Helverine again,
please.
You may know this already, but Helverine docking, like that's who that is. It's just docking with Ghost Rider. It's like I'm so tired of these amalgams. I don't need Cosmic Ghost. I just like Ghost Rider's cool, Wolverine's cool. Like I don't need an amalgam. And I really don't need you to take another character exists and make them into the amalgam. And my girl's in it too, but she's in it at the very end. But I do think she's going to be on the team. But that's why I read it. But
damn. They try.
Do they though? See, I think I don't think they actually try. I don't think they really do try. I think they just do. I think they just exist. I think CB just cashes a big fat check. And I think that Tom Ford cashes a slightly smaller but still big fat check. And I think they think they're doing awesome stuff. And I wish someone would be like, bro, you're not doing awesome stuff. Fuck.
Damn.
It do be like that. But thank God there are thousands of other non-comics out there. And I read a lot of them and enjoy a lot of them. And someday I may be back on... Listen, there was a time when Vince swore he was never going to read another DC comic. And then he put the entirety of DC comics.
Yeah, and then 97 comics made his number 7.
So I'm saying I hope there will be a time when we're doing the show and I'm just like Marvel moment of the week. And can't wait to tell you about some more Marvel. And no one's hoping that's true more than me. But I'm not going to hold my breath either.
Man. Thank you as always for listening, folks.
Yes, thank you very much.
Totally appreciate you. We will be back next week with a whole bunch of new things to read. Hopefully, we'll hear from Vince, and hopefully, I'll read a little bit more Mujina and be able to answer some questions. But yeah, we will we will talk to you soon. Love you all. You could have, as always, you could have been listening to anything else, but you decided to listen to us. So we definitely love you for that. Appreciate you tons. We will talk to you all next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Facts.
That's it for that one.